Hey everyone. So first of all, welcome to the Power in Youth Conference. I am so very sorry that I wasn't able to make it today. I did have some personal issues going on, so again, I really wish I was able to make it, but here is what I have for now. Hey, my name is Mahalxami but it's Maha for short. And I am 15 years old and I'm a sophomore from Aurora, Illinois. And so, first, I just wanted to get into a little bit about me. I was actually born in India and I lived there for a year before I moved to Malaysia, and I lived there for 2 years before moving to the States and living here in Illinois ever since. As a sophomore so far, I am part of student government. I am part of HOSA, Key Club, and Model UN, which I'm currently loving, by the way, and getting ready for my first Model UN conference because this is my first year doing it. Other than that, I love to journal. I am a yogi and I love to do yoga. And I love to bake, even though I probably suck at it. My sister can bake so much better than me. I'm still trying. Can't bake or cook yet. Positive mindset, guys. And the sport that I do is gymnastics. Yay! So I have been doing gymnastics since I was 7 years old. And I first started when I was 7. And for us gymnasts, that is actually a very late age to start the sport. You're probably supposed to start when you're around like 2 to 5. Like that's like the golden age, as some of us would say it. Like that's when you want to start because you can get really good at it from an early age. But I started when I was 7 because my parents didn't even know what gymnastics was. They didn't understand that when they signed me up, they were pretty much signing me up for the dedication for the rest of my life. So I wanted to speak to you all today on certain issues dealing with mental health, such as body image. So body image has impacted me a lot from a very young age. And you guys might be asking yourselves, why is a 15-year-old giving us like a whole speech on body image? Like, what does she know? And it's crazy that our society has come to the point where 15-year-olds and even girls or boys younger than that face body image issues. It's quite saddening, actually, that it's come to that, but all we can do at this point is use those experiences to educate others and hope that they don't have to go through the same things that we did. So I started dealing with body image issues when I was about 11 years old, and that is the time that I was going through puberty. I'm still short. I'm like 5'3", and yeah, I'm a sophomore. And yes, I get made fun of it I get made fun of it. And yes, I get made fun of a lot because I'm short, but I like to use it to my advantage because my sport does prefer if you're like a shorter person. So I was going through puberty and my body was getting bigger. And the reason that it was getting bigger was not because I was eating too much or anything like that. It was because my muscles were growing because of the amount of conditioning and workout I had to do to make them stronger. So when I was about like 8 to 10 years old, like in the sport, I do competitive gymnastics now. So when I was 8 to 10 in the sport, I was in my prime time. Like basically, my sport, you have to lift your own body weight. So your body weight does matter because if you are on the heavier side, you have to be strong enough to lift that. But when I was 8 to 10, that didn't matter. What mattered to me was flipping around and having fun. And then my puberty hit and it was just wow. And I didn't really think too much of it at the beginning. I was like, oh, okay, like I'm getting bigger, but like I'm still healthy. I know I'm healthy. I know that I'm physically active and taking care of my body and everything. And it was feeling great. I was like, okay, this is just like, this is normal. Like my body's changing like everyone else's does. And this shouldn't be something that I think too much about. And that's where I was so wrong. Gymnasts have to wear leotards. And leotards are probably, I don't know, I'm very bittersweet on the topic of leotards because when I was little, I loved wearing them. It was like, yay, I get to be in my leotard, I get to do my skills, I get to flip around, have so much fun. And then came the point where society's views on what a gymnast should look like or what a teenage girl should look like fed into my brain. And I was like, am I too big now? Do I look big in this leotard? Do I look fat to others? Will people think that my arms are too big or my thighs are too big or that I'm not the ideal size to be a gymnast, or why am I even doing this sport? And that kind of all went in my head during the ages of 13 and 14. So when that was like 8th grade into freshman year. And that's when I really became super self-conscious. And it was just a repeated negative cycle of thoughts going through my head at all times saying, you look too big, or you're too fat, or there's no way you can lift yourself up, or you should start checking your weight. You should start eating less. Maybe you should just stop eating. Like, just stop eating for a little bit, and then maybe you'll lose some weight and you'll get skinnier and then you'll look better. And those thoughts really did go through my head. And some of them fed into my thoughts. Some of them I was like, maybe I really should do the things that my mind is telling me. But I'm very fortunate enough to have a coach that taught me the right way. She told me that every body is different and that my body should be something that I'm proud of because I built it and I worked for it. I did the lifting, I did the strength conditioning, I did it, and it should be something that I'm proud of. And no matter how many times she keeps telling me that, or she's told me that before, there's still those thoughts in my head that are like, well, my coach may think that, but what about the other girls? Or what about the people watching my competitions? And competitions were the worst because I was just feeling self-conscious all the time. And then the amount of pressure of not doing good enough during meets, that just really ate into my head. And so body image is probably one of the biggest things that I suffer from today. And yes, it has gotten better and I see my self-worth completely different, but every once in a while those thoughts still run through my head and I wonder why my body is not the way that society wants it to be. And it's so saddening that society is influenced on what we think, but then we blame society. And the whole thing is like, the whole society thing is actually really controversial to me because, well, we are society. So why are we influencing society? It's like that whole argument. But in the end, it was like they have the media, let's say the media has an ideal look of what a girl should look like or what a gymnast should look like. You know, she should be skinny. She should be, not too short, not too tall, just right. She should have glowing, perfect skin. Like, she should have a big butt, like big waist, small stomach, everything like that. And like an hourglass body frame. That right there really sets so many young girls out there and so many young guys, because I know that guys too have like a look, or the media shows them a look of what guys should look like. They should be muscular, they should be tall, they should have great hair and all that. They should have clear skin, like veiny hands, anything like that. We need to recognize, first of all, that both females and males go through body image issues. It is not just females. We have to recognize the guys out there too. But we have to recognize that everyone goes through these problems. And yes, I guarantee you that at some point in your life you will feel body image issues, but it's not about whether everyone is going to face them, right? It's about how you get through it. Are you going to let those thoughts consume you, or are you going to recognize the amount of power you hold as an individual and how strong your body is? So for me, at the beginning, I kind of let the thoughts consume me. I was like, okay, maybe I should start watching what I eat. So I started eating really healthy. But then I just had I just wanted to eat unhealthy things because I was craving some chocolate. I was craving ice cream. And so then I was like, okay, maybe I should give myself the gift of eating that. And so I ate it, and then afterwards I would feel so guilty for eating it. And it was just that process, going through it over and over again. And then it became binge eating. And this was age 12. This was when I was 12 years old in 7th grade. That is mind-blowing. In 7th grade, I felt guilty for eating too much. That was an all-time low for me. And it wasn't until 8th grade and freshman year where I really started figuring out what my self-worth was. I thought so negatively of myself that it just brought my self-worth to a whole, just a worse level. It was at an all-time low. Nothing was going right. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like my body. I didn't like the fact that I was doing a sport that demanded so much of me, and I just lost all interest in those things. And I guess you would say it was kind of a depression phase that I went through. But coming out of that dark rut was one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life. And so far, it was one of the hardest things. And the way I got through it was, first of all, just sitting and reflecting. Just going through every thought that came up and thinking about it. And I know it sounds stupid, but I would literally just sit there in silence, just on my bed, looking myself in the mirror and just thinking. And it sounds crazy and stupid or something, but to me, reflection is one of the best ways that you can overcome something, because at the end of it all, you are the only person that knows yourself best. You are the only person that can recognize what thoughts you have and what thoughts you should have, or how you think of yourself. You're the only person that can recognize that. No one can tell you that. So reflection was the first step. Figuring out, okay, why am I feeling this? What am I feeling? Why are these thoughts running through my head in the first place? All of those things. And that is what I first thought of, reflection. Then opening up. And this was a really, really hard step, because I'm someone who likes to, keep to myself. I'm a social butterfly when I want to, but in most times I like to keep my thoughts to myself. I like to keep my problems to myself, because I don't know if it's just me, but I feel guilty. I feel like a burden when I am talking to someone else about my problems, because I know that they also have problems, their own problems, and then mine just seem insignificant. And that is where you all have to remember that no matter how small your problems are, they're not insignificant. You shouldn't think of them like that. And you shouldn't feel guilty when you're opening up to someone about your problems. So the first person I opened up to was my coach, my gymnastics coach. And she she talked to me in a very respectful manner. She didn't laugh at me like it was a joke or something. She was very solemn. She understood. And then she gave me some amazing advice, which I will tell you guys. And the second person I opened up to was my entire friend group. So we all had a sleepover. And this was, I think, 8th grade. We all had a sleepover. And we were just like talking. It was like 2 a.m. in the morning, you know, those 2 a.m. deep talks that happen during sleepovers. But we were just talking. And I told them, guys, like, have you ever felt like, I don't know, like, have you ever felt that your body wasn't good enough? And I didn't expect a response back. I thought they were going to say, no, like, why would you ever think that? But most of them said, yeah, like, I felt that I was too big or, like, too fat or something. I was like, no way. Like, why would you think that? You look so great. And from the moment I said that, I realized that this is what happens. Like, whenever you post something on social media or whenever you just, like, are in person with someone, or like with your friends or something, they'll tell you, oh my God, you look great. Or like, bro, you look like really cool or something like that. And then those thoughts go in your head and they're like, yeah, like they think I look great. But then you wonder, why am I still having negative thoughts about my own like body? And then it just feeds into those negative thoughts. So during that sleepover, I was like, no way, you guys have the same problems? And then they were like, yeah, of course we do. Like, why would you have this problem? You're a gymnast. You have a gymnast body. You're super healthy. I was like, girl, you don't even know the half of it. Like, this is like, I'm putting up like a facade. Like, I did not know that you guys experience the same problems. And so that is, opening up was one of the best things that I ever did, because it allowed me to share the thoughts that are running through my head and gain some valuable advice from the people that I love most in my life. And so my coach told me that everybody, like in the space in between, but everybody is different and everybody is beautiful in its own way. And I was like, that is like the most cliché thing you could ever say. And she's like, I know, but it's true. Because when you really think about it, each and every one of us are human, and we are all designed differently, whether that be genetically or psychologically. We are all different, and that's what makes us unique. It's what makes us stand out from other people. It's what makes us different from the person next to you. And that is something that we should all cherish, that we should all love about ourselves. Because guys, we all have our own special qualities. Like, you shouldn't let society or the media influence you, because it's you. And in the end, it is up to you to decide what you want to do with your life, what you want to think about, and what you value your self-worth to be. This was extremely hard for me to realize, and it didn't take me a week. It didn't take me a month. It took me 2 years, and I'm still continuing to battle it to this day. And yes, I'm extremely proud of all the progress that I've made. And yes, I still do experience those thoughts inside my head, but I'm able to, when the thought comes into my head, here's the process that I go through. So the negative thoughts come in, and it says, okay, I think you look too big right now. Okay, we recognize it. My mind is thinking that I look too big at this moment. Number 2, thinking, what should I do with the thought? Or what is the right thing to do? Because everyone knows the right thing to do. It's to like ignore it. But you also have that decision of, okay, well, maybe I should like change. Maybe I should like start losing weight or something like that. And so that is when I go through the process of not ignoring it. I decide to acknowledge it. I acknowledge that you're there, but like, I don't really care if you're there. I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to acknowledge that that thought is there, and I'm just going to go on with my life, because I know that my body is beautiful. I know that every body is beautiful, and everyone faces these problems. So recognizing and acknowledging are one of the 2 things that I highly recommend when those negative thoughts come in. And it's not just for body image. It's for any thought that comes into your head that is negative, whether that be about your body, whether that be about a certain situation or something like that. Recognize it, acknowledge it, and choose to simply push it away. You're not ignoring it because you know it's there, but you are choosing to look on the brighter side and look toward the positive side of things. And that, my friends, is how is the first step in dealing with body image issues. So that is one of the main things I want to talk to you guys about, especially with body image. And disclaimer, it goes for all the girls and guys out there, because everyone experiences, no matter what gender you are, no matter what race, like nationality, anything like that, you will experience that at some time. And yes, it is normal, and we have to normalize it, because at this point it's like only like the insecure people feel like self-conscious, or only the insecure people have like body image issues. Well, then that would make us all insecure, because at some point in our lives we're all going to feel insecure at some point, and it's how we deal with it that matters, because we all know that we're going to go through it whether we like it or not, and that's just how life is. Like, you just got to roll with it. So that is what I want to talk to you guys about, body image. But I have one quick thing. It'll take about 3 minutes at the most. Imposter syndrome. This is like one of the most psychological disorders that I've ever faced in my entire life, because imposter syndrome came from not only gymnastics, but it came from school as well. And growing up, I wasn't naturally talented or naturally gifted, you know? I wasn't like, oh my God, she's like a prodigy, like at this subject or at the sport or like at an instrument. I wasn't like that. Everything that I've learned to this point, I have worked for, and I'm extremely proud of that for myself. But I value that in my life, that I was able to do that. I was able to learn all these things and work for it. And yet I still feel sometimes that I'm not good enough, or the people are smarter than me, or do I really fit in here? Because my sophomore schedule consists of AP and honors classes in every single subject, and it is stressful to me, but I chose a schedule. Like, I chose it. But I love to do it because I love to learn about new things, and it's like a passion. Education is my passion. It's one of my biggest passions. And yet I still feel at some points I'm not good enough. Like, why am I even in these classes? I'm not smart enough for this. And that is how my grades kind of dropped, like freshman year, because I was taking my first AP class and I thought, there's no way I belong here. I do not fit in. But at the end of it all, you have to realize, what is the reason that you're here in the first place? Like, yeah, you chose it, but like how we do it at our school is that our teachers give us recommendations based on like our grades and like how we're doing in the class. So all my teachers recommended me for honors and AP classes, and they asked me like, hey, do you feel comfortable taking this? And then I was like, I really did say, I don't know if I'm like smart enough for that. And they're like, and they looked at me, like every single one of them, they like took a second, they looked at me and they're like, hun, like, we know you, like, you have put in so much work during class. You put in so much more like passion and effort into your assignments than anybody else. Why are you thinking that you're not good enough? I was like, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes I just like don't fit in. And it's that feeling, every human wants to feel that feeling of belonging. And that feeling of belonging is like what makes us whole sometimes. We want to belong. We want to feel loved, we want to be loved, and we want to love. Those are the two things that humans want most. But we got to recognize those feelings, and we have to use them to our advantage. What I mean by that is that when you are dealing with imposter syndrome, know that you are there for a reason. You have to recognize how amazing you are. You really do have to tell yourself, like, hey, you are a smart person, or you are extremely like passionate, you're ambitious, you're a hard worker. You may not be talented at something, but I like to say that my talent is hard work. That is something that I pride myself on, that I have so much, it doesn't matter if you are smarter than me, I will outwork you any day. And that is the way that I deal with imposter syndrome. Recognizing how much power I hold as an individual, that is one of the best ways to get through those phases. So I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time, but I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's conference. And again, I'm extremely sorry that I wasn't able to be there, but I really, guys, hopes. I literally can't talk sometimes. I hope that you guys learned something about body image or imposter syndrome, and I hope this helps you in any way. I love you guys so much. Just know that you're loved by anyone in your world. So I love you all, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak.